Hey, Scott Sambucci here over at Sales Qualia, and it's time for another video on lessons from the trail. And so today's message is about relentless forward progress. Relentless forward progress. But the thing is, that's completely normal, and it's understanding that that's the way that your mind is thinking. Your mind is out there to protect you from doing stuff that's going to get you in trouble. And so your mind is telling you need to stop, but in order to complete this race, you have to keep going. And so this idea of relentless forward progress, I think, is really, really important because it helps us all think about how do we keep moving forward even in times that are really, really tough. So for me, I remember one example of how I was able to kind of keep moving forward this relentless forward progress was after mile 123, I took a stop and I planned a 90-minute sleep. So I slept in the back of an SUV of a friend of mine who parked his car at the aid station. And I'll tell you, it was pretty warm. It was pretty toasty in that sleeping bag in the back of his SUV. It certainly wasn't the Ritz-Carlton by any stretch, but after spending 123 miles on the trail, man, that place felt good. So after I woke up, I had this moment where I had to tell myself, like, look, you got to get out. You got to get out of this. You got to get out of this SUV. You got to get out from under the sleeping bag. And I really didn't want to. But for me, in that moment, there's this moment of getting up, opening the door, and getting out into the cold morning air. And that was progress. That is the idea of relentless forward progress. So I think too often, when we think about the big projects that we want to do, whether it's launch a new project or launch a new product, we're trying to get to $1 million in revenue. We're trying to hire 5 engineers. We're trying to raise the next round of capital. It's easy to think about these big, big projects in an overwhelming sense. But the real key to getting any project done, whether it's raising capital, launching a product, getting to the next $1 million in revenue, or finishing an ultra marathon, is to find the little discrete steps, the little things you can do to keep moving forward, this idea of relentless forward progress. So even in the weeks and the days and the hours, and even in the moments where you really, really don't feel like going forward, the idea is to find, like, what are the smallest 3 steps that you can take? So we do this all the time with our clients when we think about their projects and the work that they need to do. And a lot of times the relentless forward progress that you can make can be something as simple as stopping for a moment, opening your calendar, finding some white space and saying, okay, tomorrow from 2 to 2:45, I'm gonna work on this project, and just block out the time. That's something that is an idea around relentless forward progress. A second thing you can do is then say, okay, the second thing, easy thing I can do is just send a quick agenda. Like, these are the 2 or 3 things I'm gonna work on related to this project. And then the third thing you can do is just send a quick note to the rest of your team and say, hey, team, tomorrow from 2 to 2:45, I am going to be working on this project. Please don't disturb. Please don't book over this time. I'm going to shut off Slack. I'm going to shut off email. And for 45 minutes, I'm going to work on this project. So it sounds really, really simple, but those short little discrete steps that we set up for ourselves is a perfect example of how we can continue to think through these big projects and just break them down and continue on relentless forward progress. So that's my message to you today. Think about ways where you can just keep moving forward, relentless forward progress. And they don't have to be big, huge steps every single day. They can just be small steps. And when you keep making lots and lots of small steps, you'll get through whatever big challenge you have ahead of you, whether it's raising capital, launching a product, or finishing a 200-mile ultra marathon. All right. So that's it for now. My one ask, if you can think of one person that could really benefit from this video, really appreciate it if you could just share this video with that person. I'm sure there's plenty of folks just like you that are looking at ways to kind of keep moving forward. And if you think that this could be useful or inspirational or motivational for someone, just find one person, think about one person that you can think of, grab a link, send it to them, share it with them, and just say, hey, check this out. Okay, that's it for now. Scott Sambucci signing off.